Folks, how you doing? Welcome to another Thursday. So today is Thursday, September 18th, 2025. And I am Kurt, and I'm here with Magic Emily Middleton. We'll be here for the next hour or so, answering your questions live here in this presentation. To get your question onto screen with us, you're going to want to use the LifterLMS pre-sales Q&A questions in the chat. Maybe someday I'll change that message and have it say something else. But right now it just says, ask your questions, pardon me, in the chat. One of the things we also like is like when people just check in, right? Like, hey, I'm so-and-so and I'm from so-and-so. If you threw that in the chat, gets a little more interactive, things can get to be a little more fun. That would be great. This is a better way of saying it, right? Ask your questions in the chat. But when it comes to tickers, we also want to let you know that if you join us for the duration of this call, feel free to jump on to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift and earn yourself a 55% off coupon. lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. Cannot stress enough, you can get started with Lifter for free, right? So if you have a WordPress website and you click, add plugins, you can go search out LifterLMS. You can install LifterLMS for free. When you decide to sell it, make revenue with it, or add extra features, that's where the add-ons come in. But you can host learning content and manage your members and do all kinds of stuff right in the free core plugin. So don't get too wrapped up with the idea that there's a coupon on screen and we're just here to sell you stuff. There's a lot you can do with the platform for free. And if you want to do stuff above and beyond what comes with the platform out of the box and you need a little more help, you can always hire an expert. lifterlms.com/experts, lifterlms.com/experts. But wait, that's not all. You also get a free set of steak knives if you order now. 1-800. All right, here we go. Emily. I haven't talked to you in a week. We haven't talked at all since last Thursday. How you been?
I've been good. I got some new Lifter swag. I saw you got your swag, and Chris has been putting it in thumbnails. And yeah, I've just been doing my normal thing, working on some like outbound marketing stuff and helping my clients isolate their mission, vision, values. So that's like my updated work from the week. I've been doing a deep dive on development lately and still doing that. I have one client now who is doing like a large data reconciliation process because they migrated their stuff kind of strangely and restored some backups when they shouldn't have and things like that. But yeah. That's what I've been up to.
The data question always gets to be something that's fairly interesting. We have a new project here coming on board. In fact, we're having our onboarding meeting tomorrow, but it is an LMS built on a different platform. And it's a platform that I'm not fond of, right? Yes, Jenna, this is where you can ask questions. Go ahead and type in your question. That'd be awesome. Welcome to the call, Jenna. And like, I don't like the platform, but they want to migrate everything over. And it's not as simple as like a WP Honors transfer setup, right? So we're actually going to have one of the people on our team actually do like a data migration to bring stuff over. It'll be interesting. Whenever you talk to new clients, it's interesting because immediately they're like, I just want to bring everything over, like the memberships, the subscriptions, the everything. We don't want to lose customers through attrition by asking them to re-sign up to charge themselves again, right? But what a nightmare to try and like port over payment processes from another platform. So if you're using WooCommerce, that's one thing, I guess. But if you're doing like a LifterLMS payment gateway, and then you want to try and convert all that information from WooCommerce to a LifterLMS payment gateway, there's a lot of hoops to jump through if you're actually going to try and pull that off. So, yeah, Mike, don't panic. I just didn't get to you yet. Mike's like, are you seeing my message here? Yes, Mike, welcome to the call. Welcome to the call. Don't be mad because I said hi to Jenna. So yeah, it looks like we've got some folks here today. That's awesome. I see the number for people viewing is continuing to climb. So follow the lead, folks. Go ahead and put your questions in chat, and we can go ahead and address them for you. Mike says he is in Funkstown, Maryland. If you don't like what you see here, get the funk out. Hey, get the funk out. Get the funk out. Get the funk out. You probably don't know that song either, do you, Emily?
No, I don't.
That is from a band called Extreme. Do you know the band Extreme?
No, I don't.
You make me so old. You make me so old. It was a great band to jam to in the 90s. Yeah, it was the 90s. All right. And Jenna says thank you, but I haven't seen her question yet. This is gonna take a while. Delphine, good morning from Merritt, British Columbia, Canada. All right. Welcome, Delphine. Good to have you here. I have the Funkworks lab here, the Funkworks. Remember the guy, something funk. He was the fitness guy.
Yeah, Funk Roberts.
Funk Roberts. He was pretty cool. If you don't like what you see here, get the funk out. All right. Well, we're still waiting for questions to roll in. Let's talk about something different. What have you been doing that's interesting or worth covering today, Emily?
Well, I mentioned before, like what I've been working on in terms of like this week, marketing, like figuring out kind of like some more fundamentals of business. I know I've been struggling with having core mission, vision, value kind of thing behind the work that I'm doing, and really figuring out like what exactly the unique vision is that I bring for clients, and how the way I see things helps them get their website sorted out, or their business sorted out, or I don't know. Clients tell me all kinds of wild things, but like there's a unique perspective that anyone creating courses has from an educational perspective that they're conveying to their audience. So figuring out what the values they have are that contribute towards their unique perspective, what exactly that unique perspective is, and how they're aiming to bring that perspective to create a change. Is that like mission, vision, value? And so I've been working through that a lot. So less of the tech and more of the business behind the tech stuff. So that's what I've been into.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have played so much in Fluent CRM and Fluent Form, and in fact, for LifterLMS, we just made a Fluent CRM video that's on our YouTube channel now. So how to integrate Lifter with Fluent. But I started to play, because this is an interesting thing when it comes to like marketing, right? You go, oh, well, I'm going to make a landing page. Well, for the longest time, I was like, oh, I'll just go make a page. Like, I'll just make a landing page. I'll make a page and I'll do something with it. But I decided to try out WP Funnels recently. And I don't know if you've ever used WP Funnels, but it's kind of like it obviously creates funnels, but it has like a drag and drop section, right? So I'm going to create the lead magnet, a thank you page, or whatever, and you can build steps into the funnel process. And then it actually builds the landing page for you. And it gives you like 3 different template engines to choose from. Like, do you want to be in WordPress space? Am I still here? Because my screen just did something weird.
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay. And so as I started to play with this WP Funnels, I got to tell you, I kind of started to like it. So I created one for my LinkedIn courses, and I created one for another thing for my book, for the leadership book that I published in 22. So I created these lead magnets for these 2 items, and now I'm just trying to track and see, hey, if I share these lead magnets with images in social, is it creating traffic for my website? Not so much am I converting, and I know there's other ways to track things, right? But not so much am I selling more books, or am I selling more courses, but am I just bringing traffic to the site? And where does that traffic go? Trying to look at like who's coming, who's interested, what do they click on after they get to the site? stuff like that. And it's been interesting to kind of see how that's working, because for the longest time, because I'm old, in my day when I got started, you would build a website and people would come to it. Like, it wasn't like you had to fight and scratch for every set of eyes, you know. But it seems like in today's marketplace, you really gotta put out, you gotta go get the eyes. Like, they're not just searching you up and coming to visit. You gotta make sure you drag people to the site and then try and hold them there. And so I've been playing along with a couple of tools to see if I can make that happen.
Yeah.
Jenna's got a question. She put it in there now. Here we go. Hello from Cincinnati. Hello from Cincinnati. OH. Do you know that joke? You don't know that. That's what they say. And okay, Emily, when you know people from Ohio, you go OH, and then everyone in the room screams IO.
Oh, okay.
It's like a state chant. Yeah. So we've been using the LMS for our business since about January. We've been in business for 50 years. Congratulations. Have a historic database managed in Access. Now that we have our feet wet with the system, we are looking to merge our data into the historic Access database too. I see that I can export my student information, but I can't find where I can export the fees associated with their purchase, like in an export file. Is this able to be pulled from the LMS? Well, it sounds like you're doing some more advanced stuff, Jenna. Emily, would this be a REST API situation?
I guess you can. I don't know. You're definitely going to want to have a technical professional working on this. I can export my student info, but I can't find. Where can I find the fees associated with their purchase, like an export file? Yeah, there's a couple of questions in here. Now that we have our feet in the system, we're looking to merge our data into the historic database too. So
because our orders don't really have like an export file, right? Each order is available, but not as a order report. So then it makes me wonder if it has to be through a REST API.
Yeah, so like speaking to it like a super technical level, the orders, right, are posts in WordPress. Those are existing in the database. You can run exports in SQL from your database to export your order posts as like a CSV with however you want to export, like what fields you want to export, etc. You can use plugins like WP All Export to go around that system for a little bit less of a technical experience to just export your orders. But orders are inherently different from students in LifterLMS's technical setup. Students exist in WordPress and students can place orders, and those orders are linked to the students. But when you're running exports, these things are not necessarily like, you're not going to export one CSV and find this student with this lifetime revenue for the student, stuff like that. Or the orders that are associated with them. It's a little more like separated in the WordPress database. So taking data from WordPress and moving it into a historic database that likely has a different structure for storing data is a little more interesting or complicated. And like Kurt said, you can use a REST API to move some data around from your WordPress website. So when an order is placed, you might be able to send some data to the WordPress, the historic database about what that was exactly that was placed in your website. So whatever the historic database is super important here.
Yeah, it's got to have like the columns. You have to map everything and move it over.
Yeah, and it's created in Access, and so you'd probably have to have like another little custom application built by a developer to handle your Access database, putting that on the cloud somewhere, and then having a little app that is receiving your webhooks or your REST API calls, and then converting those into the the fields for your Access database. It's possible, but you would likely need a little
Some
receiving application and definitely development.
Yeah. IO. Sorry, I'm just having too much fun.
Nice. No, you're good.
Here's one. Any tips on how you can keep your hair as shiny as mine? So, yeah, uh, just shave it and put on some lotion. That's all you got to do. Just shave it, put on some lotion. That's it. I got to tell you, I realized just the other day because someone asked me about it. I used to have, I did the crew. I used to have really really long hair, and then I was losing my hair, so I looked pretty stupid. I looked like someone in one of those like old karate movies, right? Like bald up front and a ponytail in the back. And so I went to a crew cut, and then I would put my helmet on because I rode motorcycles. Whenever I'd take my helmet off, I had like these lines in my hair from where the pattern in the helmet was. And so I got frustrated and just shaved it off one day. It's probably the best thing I ever did. That was like 30 years ago. I've been shaving my head for 30 years now, Emily. Can't believe it's been that long. This is more of what she was talking about on that. And Jenna says, this is helpful. We do more technical folks. We do use more technical folks to integrate the files and they map it all. Perfect. I'm just not seeing a way to pull the payment information. I'm pretty sure the payment information is available through the REST API. I put that link in there and it would be worth exploring that. What do we have? Oh, let's go back. Mike's further up here. So let's go up here first. So Mike Sokol says, is there any limit to the number of subscribers to each LMS? It appears to be unlimited as long as my WordPress server has sufficient bandwidth and storage. That is a perfect assumption, Mike. Actually, this is one of the things that attracted me to LifterLMS and working in the WordPress space over a custom, either a SaaS or a custom-built LMS solution. So I come from a corporate training background where we used to use a lot of custom LMS solutions. And that was so we could run SCORM content. Sometimes these were like reskinned Moodle applications. Sometimes they were like reconfigured Oracle applications. But what I learned from being higher up in management at these corporate levels is that these websites were like one-off. They were bespoke websites, and people paid a lot of money for them. Just to be blunt, I worked for companies that paid, $500,000 for a website or $400,000 for a website, and then would pay, anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 a year to host and maintain those sites, and still have a training department that was, making the content, which I thought was crazy, right? Because I'm thinking for 400 grand, somebody should be making your content for you too. But it was just for the site and for the hosting. And those kinds of price tags really alerted me as to the overspend that people had in the e-learning space. And so another thing that came up in these bespoke learning systems or a lot of SaaS platforms is they charge you per the number of active users on your website. So when you look at some SaaS platforms, it'll say, up to 500 students this much, or up to 1,500 students this much, or it's this much a month plus $5 for every registered user, right? And so then you do some quick math and you're like, well, if I just had 500 students, I would be out $600 a month for hosting and licensing. That's why I was driven so passionately to WordPress and more specifically to LifterLMS. Not only do you have unlimited subscribers, you have unlimited courses, unlimited administrators, unlimited instructors, unlimited quizzes. The only limit is, again, like you pointed out, the bandwidth. Will your hosting package do it? And I've got some clients that are on $35 a month for hosting, and I work with other clients that are on $700 a month for hosting. It just depends where you're at in the space and how many people you have and what other elements you're trying to put into your site. Like if you're trying to load in community platforms, so pardon me, if you have an e-learning platform and a community platform and an e-commerce shopping cart, and you've got all these things interacting, all these dynamic features in your website, it becomes more resource hungry. And if you have asynchronous learning as opposed to synchronous learning, that also affects your bandwidth, right? If all your students are signing in at the same time, every weekday at 9:00 a.m., that puts a spiked load on your site. But if they learn at their own pace and sign in whenever, it doesn't necessarily spike your use load. And so monitoring the type of hosting that you want for your project can be important. But I think in the long run, you'll find that using Lifter and the freedoms that come with it are pretty dang special. If we go down further, Mike had another question, and it said the paid technician LMS will offer continuing education units. So I would like to generate a PDF certificate plus maintain a database of those who pass the final tests. Yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see anything here that looks like it's a no-go, Mike. One, certificates. If you activate the, we have LifterLMS PDFs, and so when a student gets a certificate, they have the choice. They can download it as a PDF. They can print it to PDF. They can share it. All of that's there. Plus, you, as an administrator, in the back of the website, you have a list of all the awarded certificates. So once a certificate is awarded, it goes into the database under awarded certificates, and you're able to track it there. Plus, if you had quizzing and testing for your students, you will have had the results of all of those quizzes or tests stored in your database as well. The big thing is figuring out from a continuing education, like accreditation process. Sometimes these organizations want to know by hours or by credits, or they want to know what the score is at the end of a course. You just kind of have to kind of get creative and figure out what they need versus what you can provide through the site. Anything to add to that, Emily?
CEUs are always kind of complicated, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. But yeah, Lifter PDFs in most cases is the best way to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of the CEUs that we deal with, or that I have dealt with in the past, are largely based on hours. Like, this is a 2-hour course, this is a 5-hour course, this is an 8-hour course. But most of those courses were video based, and the client used the advanced videos add-on from LifterLMS. And so if it's video based and you have advanced videos on, and you select that people have to watch the video in its entirety before getting to the next lesson or to the quiz or the assignment, then in essence, you're justifying that they have watched the 6 hours of video or the 10 hours of video or whatever that is. And so hours-based courses are fairly easy to implement in that way. Points-based, like credits, is a little bit different. We've had conversations in the past where we've said, hey, maybe you do GamiPress and you issue points, which could be, translated as credits for things that are done. GamiPress is a third-party plugin that integrates well with LifterLMS. There's also the ability to, if you want to get creative, to customize the reporting in LifterLMS and add a column where you could actually store credits in reporting. But there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. Let's see what we got.
And I find a shocking amount of people in continuing education industries try to forge certificates, which is kind of wild. To me, that's the what I've seen. But yeah, having your own database is good. Like, I had a client who we built a feature for that they wanted people to come to their website, type in a certificate number, and type in the user's first name or last name, just verify some data, and then the website would tell them whether that was in fact a valid certificate, so that employers who had these copies of certificates could come to your website and verify it. And that was really useful to like fight the forgery.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because every now and then a customer will call and be like, oh, so-and-so forged a PDF of a certificate. And it's like, it would have been easier just to take the dang course. They're not that hard. Mike has a follow-up, says, I'm already hooked up with the main teaching organization. Only needs course hours and a pass or fail. Perfect. So you're right in the ballpark there, Mike. You've got something that's going to work for you. It says most of my online video course classes are 1 hour long. Perfect. Jenna's got question number 2. Jenna, when I'm looking to directly enroll a student into a specific access plan, say for more of a customer service approach when they call us, I'm having trouble on the back end. It only lets me enroll a student into a course on the back end, but I need them to be associated with a specific access plan when I'm enrolling them on the back end. Yeah, let's just be real direct on this, Jenna. If you manually enroll somebody into a membership or a course through the membership or course edit pages, you basically bypass the access plan. And so that's something that you don't want to do. Especially if you're like looking at expiration dates and access dates and all of those things. So if it's like, oh, we just took a credit card over the phone and we added them to the course. Um, if you're dealing with, hey, they could be added to the course and stay in there forever, that's fine. That's a workaround. That might work for you. But if it really is important that they're connected to the access plan and it has limitations from the access plan, it's important that you get the consumer to use the access plan, or if they have an account but can't figure out how to buy the access plan, maybe you use like the switch user plugin, sign in as them and use incognito mode to sign them up. What do you think, Emily?
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. The admins in WordPress can't associate an access plan with a user when enrolling them. The access plan has to be done on the front end. But like Kurt said, there are user switching options where you can like switch to their user account and do it as them. It's pretty common, especially when troubleshooting issues and someone calls you and needs something, just switch to their account and do it for them. It's great to help improve the user experience, and it doesn't really, it's almost as if the student knew how to do it correctly from the start because you did it for them, as them.
It's for me, that user switching plugin, it's free, it's in the repository, just grab it and slap it in there, it works. That is when I'm working on a client's website, that's an automatic for me. I mean, I install that I install LifterLMS, I install the CRM, I install the user switching plugin. And then I basically train our clients like, hey, when you have someone call you for support and they're saying something crazy has happened on the website, your first step shouldn't be to call me, right? Your first step should be to, oh, well, let me log into the site, let me switch the user, right? Impersonate that user, and then see if you can duplicate their concern. An amazingly high percentage is the end user not seeing a button, not seeing a link, not doing something, or using a VPN and trying to sign into a dynamic site, or there's all kinds of things. For instance, we just had a client who swore that the e-commerce part of the website wasn't working, but the end user had a VPN activated that was preventing them from having charges go through. So yeah, it's user error or user settings can always be a thing. So that user switching thing to me is, I put that in almost every client site now. We already handled that one. Here we go. Looks like there's a MailPoet integration. So it appears that I can offer a free intro LMS course, then directly pitch the paid classes to them. You can do a lot of things, Mike. If you have other CRM or mass emailing type tools assigned to the website, things that you can, separate into lists or build funnels with. So earlier I mentioned WP funnels. I use WP funnels for a lot as far as lead magnets go and things like that. But I also use Fluent CRM. And so Fluent CRM has automations where, let's say I have a lead magnet that gives somebody access to a free course. As soon as they sign up for that free course, my funnel will send them a welcome email that says, hey, welcome to this course. And then it's going to say, then I wait like a day or two. And then I say, hey, how's the course going? Right. And then I wait like a day or two. And then it says, hey, people that took this free course also looked at or enjoyed, these other 2 courses that are in the website, with links to those and purchase links and things like that. You can put in, evaluation requests. Hey, if you get a chance, click this link and fill out an evaluation for the course you just took. All kinds of stuff. And so, yeah, if you have the ability to integrate with a MailPoet, a Fluent CRM, MailChimp, we have a MailChimp integration, Active Campaign. There's just a ton of CRM tools that you can do. Jetpack CRM is out there now too. I just interviewed the guy that made Jetpack CRM the other day for my podcast. And so there's a ton of tools out there that you can integrate with Lifter and you can use for creative messaging in that way to help grow some things out. Let's see. Is there a specific Switch user plugin you would recommend? I believe it's called user switching. Am I correct? It's called user switching. So when you go into your WordPress website, plugins, add a plugin, just search user switching and it'll come up. It has like, it looks like a recycle symbol with like a gray and a blue user face or something like that. It's a pretty easy, blah, blah, blah. Never mind. My voice is tied up. My mouth doesn't work as fast as my words. All right. I will have our folks check the repository for that plugin. So helpful. Yeah, Jenna, I use it, like I said, on almost every client site. For me, it's huge. It's so huge, especially when you have a lot of students. For instance, and take this with a degree of caution, I guess. When we have large clients, so Manana no Mas is my agency. When we have large clients and they have, we're going to have 1,000 students in this website. We're going to have 5,000 students in this website. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll say, hey, we can offer you a student support package where our company actually provides the support. So the email gets forwarded to us, support tickets come to us, and a 1-800 number will be redirected and come to us, and we'll provide that support, right? Like reset your password, get you logged in. And that's where we really leverage that user switching tool, because most of the time there is nothing wrong with the website. Most of the time it's something crazy that a student's doing on their end, and we just have to walk them through stuff. Jenna says she's going to hop off now. So excited. She can't even wait for the end of the call. She's so excited. She logged off with half the call left to go. You're very welcome, Jenna. Thanks for coming. So far, oh my goodness. So it was nice to hear from you, Delphine, but looks like Mike's the only one here that's asking questions right now. And Captain Birdseye says they thought they saw me in a kung fu movie. Oh. All right. So Mike, if you got more questions, that would be great. If there's anyone else in here, because we got plenty of people in the live, but we don't have a lot of questions here. So if somebody wants to jump in and ask a question in the chat, that would be phenomenal. That would give us something to talk about. So let's talk about something fun, Emily. Your swag was like a new dress or something, right?
I got like an oversized t-shirt. It was like a 3XL. And so it kind of like is like a homeware kind of thing.
Homeware.
Like a loungewear kind of thing.
Well, I got to say, I thought that apron was big when I took it out of the wrapper. I'm like, this is a big ass apron. But then I hooked the straps on and I tied it up and I tied it around. The first time I put it on, it didn't look good at all. I'll be honest with you. It looked like crap. Like it just made me look like a fat dude. But I put it on again. You know what? I'm going to go pull up a picture of it. How about that? Photos. And what was weird was Google stole one of the photos of it and like restyled it or something, which I thought, yeah, this is the one that was restyled. And so let me go back to, gosh, I'm lost in my own screens. Share screen and Google Photos. Shazam. There I am. LifterLMS, Manana no Mas with the motorcycle. You know, I'm Jones and I haven't had a motorcycle in a long time. But there it is in practice, out cooking. We did some steaks. Steaks were good. I bought a, have you ever heard of buying a chuck roll, Emily?
I've heard of it, but I've not done it.
Well, I went and did it. I went to Sam's Club and I bought me a chuck roll. It was $182, right? So I get this giant chunk of beef for $182. And I saw people on, like on TikTok and stuff do this. You slice it down into steaks and then you get a bunch of chuck steaks, right? So what I did was I took like a 3.5-inch slot out of the middle of it and I made that a chuck roast. So I'll do that on the smoker. Like smoking a chuck roast is awesome, right? Because I love to cook. But even with taking that like 3.5-inch slab out of the middle, I still ended up with 22 steaks.
Wow.
So I have been cooking like crazy. Gavin's here. Gavin's here. This is fun. Is there a way to increase memory on the back end? I have a coupon code with 5,000 plus users, but I can't view the number unless I decrease threads and increase the megabyte per thread. Gavin, I'm going to tell you, I got no idea what we're talking about here. I think you're talking about another platform. Are you talking about Kajabi? You might be talking about Kajabi or Podia or something like that. If you were on a WordPress website, is there a way to increase memory on the back end? Absolutely. You go to your server settings and you can increase like PHP memory. You can increase file size memory. You can increase the server's resources. You could, add more RAM to the server. You can add PHP workers, which makes the website move faster. Getting into the hosting is kind of fun because you could really make a WordPress website hum. Like I didn't realize how big of a difference hosting could actually make a WordPress website until I started playing with different hosts, and it's pretty incredible what you can do. If you're really amped up on performance, then Rocket.net would be a cool place. Rocket.net, they just did an acquisition partnership thing that gives them more resources. Now you say here I can work around, but it's not ideal. I run 4 GB for total memory pool with 16 threads, each with 265 megabytes. Okay. And then you say, no, this is within LifterLMS for coupons. Okay. So you have a coupon that's been used 5,000 times, but you can't view the number unless you decrease the threads. I'm confused, Emily. Are you trying to pull a report for the coupon use? Because you should be able to pull a report.
I guess there's probably some kind of, I wonder if, are you using like advanced coupons in order to get that report, or are we, like, where exactly in the back end of WordPress are we trying to load that? I run 4 GB for total memory with 16 threads. This sounds like someone who there's a lot of self-hosting stuff. I try to look at the number of times it's been used, but I can't unless I increase the memory limit with my hosting, which is Kinsta. Yeah, it's a lot of uses. I'm not sure why exactly that would fail. That would be something you'd definitely want to bring up a support ticket with, so that could be like do some troubleshooting. As I would just delete old usage statistics and download it to my computer, but LifterLMS tech support might have a different response. A lot of times when you submit a message to tech support, you're like, hey, I'm trying to load this thing. They can bring it over to a bug report and say hey, our coupon system maxes out at 5,000 users or so. These are the files that struggle to load in that mass. I know that Brian Hogg, the main developer at LifterLMS right now, has been doing some things with scale increasing. So this could be something where when loading thousands of items of data, certain files can return different responses or allocate resources differently or load different amounts of data. For example, when you're dealing with that amount of data, if a function returns extra data, oh, here's our 5,000 coupon usages, but here's also everyone's name who's used the coupon, everyone's transaction number, etc. The code could be added to scale that down and be oh, when we reach a certain amount of thousands of responses that we're going to return less data per line item. Things like that can be done, but that has to be done through tech support so that the Lifter devs can figure out what to do. So I would submit a tech support ticket with some If you can, create a staging copy of your website that our team can log into and see the error happen. That will give them the stuff they need for screenshots and looking in the browser to see which files from LifterLMS are failing, or which files from Kinsta are failing, or which resources are specifically being compromised, and they can report that to the engineers at Lifter. I'm like a little software engineer, but I'm not at Lifter as a software engineer. I'm at Lifter as a salesperson. But yeah, give them that data, give them a staging website, they'll be able to highlight some next steps. But my personal recommendation is to clear the, on your production environment, clear the data. But that's just my workaround. It's not official.
Bada boom, bada bing. So I'll go completely off script again. And I'll say, hey, you want to see something interesting? Neighbor invites me and my son to go pick apples over the weekend at her uncle's farm. We're picking apples. Everything's fine. I see a spider web, not a big deal. I'm not afraid of spiders, right? Emily, check this out. Oh, what happened? It just went away. Now I got to pull it up again. Here we go. Do you see that?
Oh my God. Is that like a banana spider?
It was, I looked it up. I took its picture and I looked it up on Google. It's called a garden orb spider. Now, you see these yellow dots here?
Yeah.
Those are apples, Emily. That thing's as big as an apple.
Right.
It was so freaking huge. I was like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" Yeah, I wasn't in the best frame of mind when I first saw it. I was like, "Oh my God." And then it was just like super cool because it wasn't like a jumping spider, you know, it didn't like jump on me and try and eat my face. But it was huge. I mean, it was easily like the palm of your hand big. As big as the apples. It was crazy. And we did make a Zach finally has some input. Zach finally has a comment. I always want to see interesting things. So yeah, that spider was freaking huge. Was really cool. So the reason the neighbor invited us was and I've seen orb weavers. So he says, yeah, orb weavers are interesting. They are interesting. Like when I went to Japan, there was a park that was known in Hamamatsu. There's this park that's known for orb spiders, and there's giant webs everywhere, and they were big spiders, right? They were big spiders. Nothing like this one in this apple tree, though. This thing in this apple tree was immense. I was starting to think to myself, it was like one of those. I said, "Oh my goodness, am I in Australia?" Because in Australia they have those giant spiders that people put in their houses. So, yeah, pretty crazy. What do they call huntsman spiders? You ever see a huntsman spider?
I don't think so.
Well, now you can open up your Google and look up huntsman spider in Australia. But I was like, oh my goodness, this thing's freaking huge. And but the reason we got invited by the neighbor is because my son is kind of into cars. He's going to automotive auto body for what he wants to do for a living. And Uncle Dan that owns the farm has this giant shop that is absolutely full of really cool things. I mean, he had like an antique Plymouth, an antique Ford, an antique Mercury. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. He also had these cows. The cows like the apples. That was cool. I don't know if you can see it in the picture. Can you see like all the little speckles on their back?
Yeah, I can see it.
Those were hordes of flies. Like I would throw an apple at the cow and the cow would move and like its whole back would just go with like flies coming off of it. I was like, I wouldn't want to be a cow. That doesn't look like fun at all. All right. Where we go. It's just living its best life in that tree. It is. And I certainly wasn't going to be the one to torture it and kill it, Zach. I mean, I thought it was just doing a great job where it was at. So I left it where it was. Um, cool thing. Cool thing. It was kind of pretty, actually. Kind of pretty. Not really all that scary. I don't think I wanted to hold it, but I don't think it was all that scary either. It was pretty cool. All right. Let's go into sales mode. Folks, if you like what you're seeing here and you're interested in anything with LifterLMS that has a price tag, you can go to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift, lifterlms.com/AMA-gift, and that will get you a 55% off coupon. If you want to hire an expert, we have those at lifterlms.com/experts. Again, that's /experts if you're looking for someone that could lend you some hand on a project. Ask your questions in the chat, which we've been begging for this episode of the Ask Us Anything call. And then finally, if you want to try LifterLMS, like you're like, hey, I don't really want to spend money on an Infinity bundle unless I know that it's really going to meet my use case. Just go to lifterlms.com/try for $1. For $1, you can get a 30-day hosted example of a fully populated LMS site with the Infinity bundle activated. And that way you can kind of play with all the add-ons and see what you like, what you don't like. You can turn add-ons off if you want through the plugins menu and really make a decision. Like, do you want the Universe bundle? Do you want the Infinity bundle? Do you want the Earth bundle? Do you want the free core plugin with the Stripe payment gateway? Like there's a bazillion different ways to go. And so that trial really does a good job of putting people in the ballpark and letting them see what it's really like to have a product that's populated and working. I personally love the demo sites because when I'm working with clients and I'm trying to talk about, hey, this is what we're going to do with your LMS, it's abstract. Like people don't get it. Like, and they're too embarrassed to say they don't get it. Right. So when I'm working with clients, I use demo sites quite often to say, hey, here's a demo site. This is what it looks like to build a course. This is what it looks like to have a membership. This is what it looks like. And then it tends to go much easier for the adoption anyway. All right. I was talking about WP funnels earlier, and then we were talking about Fluent CRM. Are there any other integrations or tools that you think are worth mentioning or bringing up, Emily? We mentioned GamyPress.
GamyPress is cool. I'm trying to think of like what tools I've been working with lately. I could send like a word of warning to anyone watching. There's like tools like WP Sheet Editor and like working with the database directly and having GPT create SQL comments for you, or SQL statements. These things don't always execute the PHP code. So like I had a custom PHP code that was written to create scheduled actions for a client of like, oh, when you update this post, we're going to update when the user is supposed to be enrolled and unenrolled from a given program. They circumvented that by going into the SQL database and just updating a bunch of people. But when you update things in the SQL database, it doesn't run PHP. So all of my code, that is to say, like whenever an order gets updated, update someone's enrollment and unenrollment date. It didn't work because none of that PHP code was triggered because they just edited the database directly. So just remember, when you're using SQL as a tool, as a part of your workflow, you're not going to run sometimes necessary PHP options looking for updates to certain parameters. And so you would also just want to consider that. And in our case, what we're likely going to do is figure out another SQL statement that I'm going to run to create like bunches of scheduled actions for what got missed. But just using resources outside of WordPress as tools can sometimes not trigger WordPress in ways it needs to be touched.
Shazam. That's a good chunk of advice.
Right. I didn't even imagine this client was going to jump into the database and start running SQL, but there's with great power comes great responsibility. And when the GPT is pushing out little custom code that they're putting on their website, and I'm like, ah, what is this? And then they're like, oh wait, this can write like massive database sweeps for me too. Like, like I mean, this is kind of what can happen, but things didn't get too broken. It just seems like probably like 70 items got broken, but we're talking about thousands, so we're not. Things aren't too bad.
I think there's like a plethora of AI tools out there right now that are good, right? Like there's things that people can do that save time, that save energy, that do, and then there's things that I see people like leveraging Chat GPT or Claude to like try to vibe code something for their site, and it just comes with mayhem afterwards, like a lot of scramble. So I'm still the jury's still out with me on the AI thing. I know that for a lot of purposes, people push the AI deal, but I still hold that you really got to know what you're doing before you just start plunking away on it.
Yeah, you have to be able to point out what the AI is doing wrong.
Yeah.
And asking the AI to ask itself what it's doing wrong doesn't always apply. Like, it will often hallucinate things like different functions that LifterLMS might or might not have, especially with something like LifterLMS, because it's a little too obscure to be in the common knowledge for like, maybe the AI knows how WordPress fundamentally works. It might not follow the best practices, but it kind of knows how it works. But then when you're dealing with things like LifterLMS or even like commerce, it's like, does it know the best data handling practices? Is it fundamentally structuring custom code or like SQL commands to like go against the structure that you've built? Stuff like that.
No, it's weird. I even today I still catch a little bit of grief about it because I'm not fully in on this AI thing with folks. I think there's, to your point, it hallucinates a lot of things. I had it write a blog post for me and it made up like 3 URLs to my website. Like, hey, go check out this. I'm like, that's not one of my pages. It's just making stuff up. So that's interesting. All right. Well, folks, we do have a comment. So let's see here. We probably ticked somebody off with that. Please repeat the discount link. Oh my goodness. It's on the screen, Mike. Are you making fun of me, Mike? Mike, I think you're making fun of me. 55% off, lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. And folks, I think Emily and me have run out of things to talk about, unless you want to see a picture of my dog. There's a picture of my dog. He had the best day of his life. We had 22 college kids over for a barbecue last weekend, and look how happy that dog is. That dog is happy. Loved all the attention. So we're going to call it a day. We will see you guys next Thursday on the Lifter LMS Ask Me Anything call. Be there, be square. Bring your questions. And if you want to submit your questions ahead of time, you can accept the invitation that you get through your email and then submit a question on the form. And then we see it on a spreadsheet and we can address it during the show. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.